Hello, everybody. We are live. Thanks for checking out the VOD. Thanks for all the comments. Really appreciate it. Try to respond to them. I think the last batch somehow I missed a week or whatever, so it took, we were a little bit slower in responding to your comments, but we'll try to stay on top of it. We've got the playtest this weekend. So what I may do is just post this VOD tomorrow, just in case anybody's watching it and is not aware of the playtest. You'll have that. Yeah. I think that's kind of that. I'm not 100% sure what we're gonna do tonight. Right before big playtests like this, it's kind of a, ideally, if things are going well, we're in a weird kind of state because we're all nervous and hyped up for the playtest. But on the flip side, it's very quiet behind the scenes because we don't want a bunch of we're trying our hardest to stick with our pencils down dates and lock the build, find stuff that specific things that we need to fix or patch in, update or whatever in that build, and we want to keep the build as stable as possible. So it's kind of interesting. This was something I ran into back in EverQuest days, because when I first got to EverQuest, we would be just the team, the way it was managed then, would just be, literally patching shit live onto live servers. With Luckland, that was the case. When our producer Robert Pfister took over the team, he got us to a point where we'd basically be sitting on our hands for 2 weeks, 1 week worst case, before an expansion went out, so that things were basically as locked down as possible. Because what we want to know is we know it's not going to be perfect no matter what, but have we found all of the issues, all the gremlins, all the showstoppers and all of that shit, and then we should post a list of known issues and kind of go from there. So it's as predictable as possible, even if it's not perfect, right? Anyways, that's what's going on this week. So it's kind of a mix of working on some new stuff, working on fixes. The tech guys have been still looking at different optimizations and bugs that have popped up even in this last week. And so that's us getting ready for the playtest. I'm going to say hi to everybody now. Gnomely fans, Chili Sauce, Drodak, Nimdork, Sarinth, Bill, Ghastly, Coding Caffeine, John, Gunner, Virtual Freedom, Sarinth, Tsunami-san, Frankenbeans, Maze, Death Rider, Phenomenal, Chaz Solo, Wallabus. Hey, everybody. Why can't y'all do play tests while your wife is away? Oh man, that's bait. I wanna I was gonna make a joke, but you wouldn't like it. My wife's in the other room, she wouldn't like it, so you need to plan around her. I wasn't looking over I'm actually now looking over to my shoulder. I'm looking to the side, the way our office is set up. It's interesting. Our office in this apartment wound up being really cool. It's this big room that Jasmine has is her office, and we've got a bunch of storage in there and workbench and all sorts of stuff. It's a great room. And then there's this weird, I guess maybe there was a door here at some point. I don't know. I think they just cut a hole in the wall, and then the doors that used to be here is patched up. But it's this cubby that is the stream room. That is my little HQ. So it's just this attachment to the bigger room. So I was looking over. What's up? How you doing, Zukin? Finished an entire honeydew list, and I'm clear to play all day and night, Saturday and Sunday. Look at you guys. What's up, Cad? Oh, is that loud? Maybe. Sorry, guys. Monsters and Memories made you a better husband. I hope we get credit for that. Excited for this weekend. Yeah, we're excited too, man. It's always nerve-wracking. It's always very nerve-wracking because it's like, what if something breaks? Blah, blah, blah. We don't want to disappoint you guys. And what if you get in and you just, you know, it's like when you're waiting on a birthday party or something. What if everybody shows up and they don't like it? What if nobody shows up? So what if you guys get in there and this is finally the test where you guys are like, oh, we don't like Eminem anymore. Sad. I'm gonna drink this while it's warm. Hey, Kenji, Drew, Zach. I always want to call you Zachary, Zareki. Can I just call you Zachary? Monotonous. Big hoop. Nimdork says you guys have been doing a fantastic job with the stress test so far. I have full faith in you. Oof. It's almost like a break a leg. I have 5,999 followers. I'm almost like Dr. Yakub. Wild. That's a cool number. Nobody else had. 8 months left, no pressure. 8 months to early access. I mean, we still have shit to do. But you guys are expecting a finished or perfect game in 8 months? Whatever. No pressure. We don't even have 8 months, my friends. We have 8 months until early access, which means we got about 5 months. But we'll be working in parallel, right? Because again, like I was saying at the beginning of the stream, it's like we want to get certain things super locked down. Well, here's me not getting into Night Harbor. We hope that's not your fate. So excited for this weekend. Been meaning to ask though, will the Translucent developer streams continue through EA Live? Yes, we will continue to stream unless you guys aren't happy with EA and you come in here and you start just picking on me, then I'll tell you to piss off and I'll stop streaming. Or I'll just sit here and make fun of you back, I guess. I don't know. But Zukin can continue to stream. Don't be mad at Zukin. What kind of patch schedule will be doing early access? Not 100% sure. It's not going to be super aggressive. Like we may find ourselves with a regular like short cadence sort of like bug fix patch that runs within a bigger sort of update patch separate from like the big module updates, right? So you'll make a Leave Robot Alone video from under your blankets. That would be so good. Somebody was just mentioning they needed to do that for somebody else. I just saw somebody resurrect the Leave Britney Alone. So for some reason, Zukin, listening to the Dungeon Crawler Carl books, there's a lot of times where I'll hear Carl's voice and it reminds me of you for some reason. But yeah, so the hope is to. I think I just need to restart this beast. We just started book 5, Thadvik. And I'm a big fan of what's his name? I always mess it up. Prepotente. So I'm hoping he gets. I hope he gets more airtime. I mean he's on the cover, right? So, but no spoilers and no spoilers about anything that's happened up to this point for people that haven't started. Nicodemus, I think 7 of the books are out already. But Amnesiac, I don't know if that. I hope that answered your question. Essentially, we don't want to commit. Like I've worked on teams that did weekly updates schedule, and they're a big pain in the ass and can be a big distraction if you don't just have like a really good, I don't know, like deployment and like QA scheme that's always just like kind of got something in the hopper. They can be way more work on the team than is value to the player. I've been on 2-week update cycles in live operations where every 2 weeks we would do like a patch. And that can be more manageable, and then it's just really about like what are we doing in those 2 weeks, and is it necessary, right? But we want to always have like a you know, we just always, when we have fixes and stuff ready, we want to have them going out. Yeah, John, I think it may wind up being a more of a when it's ready kind of update, right? So a little bit spotty, but always, because the goal shouldn't be like the last company I was at. Guys, let me know if the music's too high today or whatever. I like randomize this shit every single stream, I guess. But the video post about Ashron calls updates pretty interesting. I'm always interested in live operations videos. So if you can make sure I don't miss it. All right, still not in. All right, go back to the editor, I guess. Yeah, so the bigger update cycle for like modules and stuff. I think we'll try to shoot for something that's like every quarter or so, like a chunkier, beefier update. But again, we'll have to see. But it's really just about like, it should be less about how many can we do, how fast or whatever. At my last company, it was a point of pride that they had done like 10 years worth of weekly updates and not missed a week. It's pretty crazy, but it was just such a pain in the ass behind the scenes. Yeah, it's really, it should just be about like, do we have stuff that's of value, and has it really been QA'd, and are we you know, it sucks when you like post an update and what you said supposed to be in it is not in it. You break some new thing because you're rushing to get the update out, all that shit. It's not good. Hey Simon. Wyvern says we do a 2-week cycle on software updates, but we have a constant stream of updates. They have to go through devs and stage and production. So by the time you complete production, you're already working on dev again, which can be tiring. Yeah. And and I mean, honestly, it's depending on, yeah, it's just you could find yourself where then at some point that kind of gets off track, like it depends on where it got off track, right? Like, so if something gets backed up in QA and then you're like regressing it a bunch, and Are you really super stuck on like that 2-week cycle? And so then are you pulling stuff out of that update? And then what's it doing to that build? And yeah. Megaton said weekly updates would need one heck of a CI pipeline to make sure you don't bork yourself. I've seen it done without like CI CD or whatever, or it's just like brute forcing it. Wallaby says I'm only 3 hours into book 1, but thoroughly enjoying it. Been listening while hobbying. It's such a nice, just fun book to listen to. All right. So what am I actually gonna do today? Oh, this is a cool log. I was in here earlier, looking at what Build has in place, cause I've got a little idea for a little secret mini dungeon thing going on, and and I wanted to see where it would fit and see what props existed that could be stolen. So I like this log. I was looking at it earlier. Wonder if it's intended to be run across. Back in my day, a release meant manually copying files into an FTP server and making a phone call to request a server restart. Oh man, I don't miss that. Yeah, I bet. Well, this would be a mini dungeon plus. And I think the one I'm actually thinking of, you already know it. You are a little. I said first, if I had to guess, you'll have opinions, because you've already had opinions on that one. You found out log is way up to platforms. You can climb, walk on the big log. So I give it a thumbs up. Right on. When don't you? Yeah, so like I said, for people that just got in here, this week, I mean, I can continue to do some Keeper's Bite, I think. This week, you know, behind the scenes is just really meant to be like a pretty quiet, focused week on just like making sure all the ducks are in a row and the build's ready to go for Friday. So I found that one of the things that happens if, and again, I don't want to jinx us and have shit be broken, you guys be thoroughly unimpressed come this weekend, but like in theory, one of the things that's supposed to happen with you know, like for us, like a big sort of update or milestone playtest like this is, it's not, you know, it's really on EQ. It was a breather right before an expansion. We actually started designing our next expansion, like getting into the details, usually in the couple weeks leading to a expansion release, because shit would be locked down, right? Like things would basically just be locked down, the build be locked, where we don't want to break anything. And so there'd be a lot of downtime. People would chill out a little bit. Typically, you want to chill because you're crunching all the way up until, pencils down, and you know, and then once pencils down hit and you've regressed your bugs and all that stuff, then you're just waiting to start blasting on the next expansion, basically. How's the bins performing now? Saw Bjorn took a swing at it. I haven't been in there. From what I was reading, it felt like maybe it was a little better, but it's still not where we need it optimization wise. But maybe I'm wrong on that. Be keeping an eye on it. I think optimization is just going to be one of those things that's top of the known issues list. How did you test an expansion before launch? We typically, have like our little expansion beta going on. In the depending on the expansion, sometimes we were able to do it sort of as we were developing. So throughout the expansion, sometimes it was the last like month before everything went live, and we would try to have most of our new development done, you know, a pretty good ways out. Like we would do a work back schedule, and we would try to, it wouldn't be pencils down, but it would be like, let's try to manage the scope so that it's not forcing us to go all the way up until launch, basically. And that way it allowed us to spend more time with our testers and internal testers, and just playing what we got. And you know, some stuff fell off the edge. Our first big expansion is like a new sort of like team working together with Planes of Power, and we got a lot of that tested, but you could see when you got to the elemental planes and then when you got to Quarm, right? And then the problem with Quarm actually was, the bigger thing was, we just didn't want to reveal it. So we were like trying to bullshit around the testing and not spill the beans on it, and that just bit us in the ass, right? So mini dungeon meaning mini proportion of size or speed to get through it. Well, I mean, we don't really do like linear. It's the push isn't for like linear dungeon crawls, right? So it's typically, I mean, first put in the little what, I don't even remember the name at the moment. The little spider mini dungeon that used to be the whatchamacallit crypt, our old original OG crypt. Infested crypt, yeah. And like we've camped in there for hours, and it's like 3 rooms, right? So the type of gameplay that we have is, it makes it so that you don't need a giant, you know, sort of crawl to like orchestrate. Wrong term. We don't need a like giant crawl, because it's not like you're going through it. It's not scripted or any of that shit. So like, it's really just like the number of camps. Inhale my coffee. Whose idea was the old Zeb Drizzle Roast switcheroo? I forget. Storyline wise, I forget the storyline. I remember Kill the Gods, blah blah blah. Like, a lot of that story was mine. I just don't remember it. The original pitch was something like 1 to 5 groups, 2 to 4. Oh wait, you're talking about, yeah, storyline wise. I did a lot of the story stuff back then. I pushed a lot of the story. I mean, it's not, you know, it's kind of, yeah. But we discussed that stuff a lot as a team. You know, I would just kind of take it into a meeting, or somebody would have an idea and bring it into a meeting, and then I would just kind of like MC the process. But yeah. Not to potentially accidentally take credit from anybody on the team that did whatever at the time. So, you know, I think it's always best to just say that it was like a team effort, but a lot of the, you know, first you've seen how we operate here behind the scenes, right? Excited for this weekend. Too bad for work Friday and Sunday. Steve, that is a bummer, but hopefully the time you get in, everything's stable, you enjoy yourself. First said sorry, video buffered in the middle of that. Basically I was just saying, like, you've seen how we operate behind the scenes. Just, I mean, what you've seen in action is kind of, that was EQ as well for the most part. Keep blue roof, keep the space lasers from destroying your house. Dragon, it's true. That's why we put them on here. Ain't nothing burning down over here. Blue shingles are cool. Didn't know. I don't know why I didn't see them as that color in my mind's eye. They're relatively new, and I would have probably just like guessed brown as well. I like the blue though. It's a nice touch. Yeah, I mean the EQ team was a lot, you know, it was a lot of work, but we had a really good crew. We had some strong folks on the team, and people kind of, everybody, you know, watched their sector and just kind of blasted away on getting shit done. Any secret caves behind those waterfalls? Well, if I told you, it wouldn't be a secret, would it? Also, Bjorn has taught me the fine art of making caves, so there's no telling where caves may appear in different zones as we move forward. Tsunami-san says, have you considered making a Shadow Knight quest weapon a two-hander? One hand doesn't fit the class aesthetic too well. Also, advancing that quest line over time as you grow, item gets bigger. I mean, just post a reminder so we don't forget after the playtest. I personally don't have a preference. Any update on cartography skill? Nope, none. Guess I can throw a mob down here, throw some stuff down here while we're hanging out tonight. This area is going to be redone a fair bit after the playtest, but do Necros get Spectre pets or something like that? Can we maybe choose the pet model for our pets? Kind of like the crappy pet transmog. I think there may be different pet spells, right? Well, you've already got some of those. You've already got, as a necro, you've already got the ability to have skeletons, ghouls. Zukin said Devil's Advocate. It's a low-level SK quest, so maybe it makes some sense that you'd still grow into a cool big sword. Maybe it would be a bummer to get a cool thing that you have to return anyway. You grow into it. Maybe over time you need both. Bought the astronomy guide during the last stress test that told me the first step to doing astronomy was to look up. My mind was blown. Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty deep game. We're hitting you with like concepts that are pretty out there. And this playtest, can we start in the Elf City or just visit? You can start, it won't be in the city, it'll be in the forest below. The city's still in progress. Are there plans to have obscenely large two-handers for melee? I always loved the oversized weapons. I don't know how obscenely large. I don't think we'll ever do any sort of like cloud. Yeah, no Final Fantasy weapons, but it's magical realism. Yes. Fantastic realism, Simon. Fantastic. Our realism is fantastic. Water's looking kind of weird. I wonder if it looks that way in the build. I have to see if someone can take a look. Yeah, we'll always be closer to the EQ end of the spectrum and not the WoW end. Yeah, I'm very curious to see what the turnout's like this weekend. Have you guys considered giving dwarves a bit bigger of a weapon model to match the bulky build? I like how the same weapons get bigger for taller races. A lot of dwarves a weapon scale for a larger race. I think it might. I mean, there might be a better sizing. I don't know. That's something Zukin could look at. But I don't think we'd ever go like dwarves wielding sort of ogre-sized stuff. This seems like it'd be crazy. Will mages be able to summon a small boat or surfboard? I don't think we've ever discussed it. Or maybe a floating disc that you could just ride over the top of the water? What's the deal with the Aqua Elves and Evershade? Do they like the Wood Elves? I'm pretty certain those elves are a placeholder model until we can get Dryad and Naiad models done. But they're behind the waterfall in that watery area because they're naiads. I think they've got some naiad names, so it's not a spoiler if you've seen them. Yeah, floating disc would be cool. Like we could have a floating disc serve as like a pack animal as well. And maybe different level floating disc spells have a different weight allowance. Really interested in the distribution across Rel and the fresh PvE server. Seems like a ton of new folks for this test. Yeah, I'm hoping people spread out and just don't, like, again, really hoping this playtest weekend is as stable as possible. So get in and immediately kill. Level up and get out of Night Harbor. How are things looking timeline-wise for the roadmap you all put out? Still looking good? Yep, still looking good. It's funny. Because we're a volunteer-based team, there's always like some unexpected ups and downs and all that stuff in terms of like just productivity and people's availability and stuff. But we've been really fortunate in that as people are maybe unavailable, we've also found good people that are available, and so we're gonna keep pushing ahead. So far, it seems like we're on time. If anything, one of the interesting folks that we're talking to, who may be announced on the team before too long, is even part of that whole process of kind of getting to know each other, is working on a zone for the first big update. So the first of our module 1 zones is already in progress, so we'll see. So in some areas we're a little behind schedule, in other areas we're on schedule, in other areas ahead of schedule, so we'll see. We got a ton that we want to do though, right? Like, and the cool thing is in getting a lot of like foundation for even zones like this, like, the placeholder stuff that's in here. I mean, you guys will see. You'll see it. It still needs work and it still feels pretty placeholder and all that, but you'll come in and hopefully you'll be like, oh, this isn't I can see where it's going, it's not too bad, blah blah blah. Like, keep in mind, like, all we promised to get out the door for early access is the zones that are on the that are in the FAQ, and you're gonna be able to access most of them in this playtest almost, right? So we'll see. I always try to under promise and overperform, so that's why I'm not like, yeah man, we're killing it, shit's perfect. There is fishing in this game. I don't know what state fishing is in at the moment. That's a great question. Rift may have been touching some fishing and making sure it's all good. That's one of those areas where there's a lot we can do, and it's really just, a matter of work now. It's not super systems dependent. Are you guys going to lock it down like last time for an hour or so before releasing it to the wild? Nope. You just come in and you go wherever you want. That was for a stress test. Am I playing this weekend or just working CS? This weekend, I'm primarily going to be doing customer service. That reminds me, I need to post a little thing asking people on the team like what their availability is like for customer service and kind of see, then make sure everybody's kind of squared away. Have you considered a maze zone that changes layout every time the first person zones in, and make it with blocks like Eldon kind of? Well, Eldon was faked randomization. Like, it wasn't randomization. There were like 5 maps. We originally wanted it to be dynamic, and it just wasn't going to work. So the problem with the layout changes is it would be finite unless we change the way that we're like spawning mobs and stuff, right? Because we would have to have something where, like, I'm in this map and I'm placing these spawners. It would have to be something where the spawner is part of whatever piece the map is made. Like, so here, I'll do another, because I know how much you guys love and respect my art skills. I would do it in Excalibur because it would be easier, but I have top secret stuff up at the moment and I don't want to have to clear it. So basically, so say the map is made out of like this kind of piece and, you know, often a T section. Right, so you got some corners, some T sections, or cross sections, T sections, right? And probably like some point of interest rooms with doors. I mean, that's how we did Eldon, right? So it'd be like a hallway here, and then this would be like a unique room. There'd be a certain number of like finite, you know, I think it was like 3. Each map had like 3 sort of like super unique rooms, or maybe they weren't super unique, but they were meant to be kind of like the endpoints in a dungeon, right? So what we'd have to do is all these spawners would actually have to be a part of, right? Otherwise, we've got to find some other way to like do it. And right, so it's all this extra work for layouts that they're either gonna feel kind of whack because they're not handcrafted. They're gonna feel whack because we got to do this new system then where, and does it randomize which of these spawners is on? Is that, how do you like make sure that it's optimal play experience? Yeah, so it's just it's a lot of work for not as good of an experience, I think. Eldon, haven't done any of that yet. Did the EQ discuss that solo players would be able to do the content? Yeah, it was meant for groups. Eldon had neat stuff, but it's somehow it still tended to blur together because it was too much into a little too generic. It doesn't have the same feel. It's not the same as like, I think, you know, getting to learn a place. I would rather us do something like, if we were you know, wanting to redo content, then we do something that's more akin to like the EverQuest revamps from like Chardock 1.0 to 2.0 or Kazakh Thul or whatever. I mean, because dungeons, you know, dungeons aren't just content. Dungeons aren't one of the, like, if there's a very strong fictional justification, like a Lost Woods type zone, right, where as you're moving through it, the woods are kind of reshaping themselves to try to confuse you and this and that, then I could see a place that is kind of a one-off that has a strong fictional justification, has some more dynamic elements to it, and is a little weird like that. But the second we start going how do we you know, generate a bunch of random stuff so that you have a bit of variety to your gaming. It's now it's no longer how do we create this interesting world that you're in, and it's like how do we vary up the context in which you get your adventure points? Which at that, you know, at that time in EQ, that was something we hadn't tried before. You know, we had seen Anarchy Online's little mission system and thought that was kind of cool. And wanted to have dungeon crawls and a bunch of other like justifications for it. But the impact on world sense and all of that was one of those things that we just didn't, I don't think we considered carefully enough, right? We were starting to get into that mindset of like, you know, the world is just sort of a context for making your experience points go up. Should Bard Mesmerization cause mana? Believe it may be a little unfair to the Enchanter. Does the Enchanter have anything that's unfair to other people? Life's not fair. I'm saying that in kind of a flippant manner because I'm not the person ultimately responsible for class design. But I do, you know, I do kind of believe in that concept of like ideally every class feels broken in some way. Or I'm wrong. I mean, I could also just be wrong on that front. Again, the cool thing about our setup is like I don't have to come on stream and like profess to know everything or have all the answers. That's why, you know, that's why I've got partners and that's why we've got a team. Archer felt broken until I had to spend a lot of time crafting arrows. You didn't take the trait? Did you burn through the 1,000 arrows or whatever? That's so many arrows. That's so many anything. Valen, I wasn't picking on your question. Did that make sense what I said to you? Cool. Funny, your name reminds me like I enjoyed the little bit of time that I spent as the GM on Talonzek. I thought that was a really interesting server to be a GM on. I'm looking forward to seeing how our PvP plays out. Any idea how you guys are going to do the mud? Is that something you can be triplanar, the ground? Yeah, I would assume. I just assume so. Would there be a reason why we wouldn't first that you can think of? Talon actually wasn't pure chaos. Like there was definitely a rhythm. Are there rewards for PvP in addition to like direct looting type stuff? Or We don't have like the Silinzek tokens yet. That would be cool though. Have you tried large scale PvP like 100v100 in our game or just in general? I mean, I played Planet Side. In its heyday. In our game? No, not yet. We haven't had that many people interested in PvP. Can the engine handle it? Yeah. Yeah, the engine can handle it. Now, if like all 200 people are like standing in the same place popping spell effects, I'm sure we're going to have issues of various varieties. But, I mean, 200 people in a zone could run around and gank each other. Sand and snow are smaller particles that fill in with the current triplanar. Just not sure how mud might feel with it. Never seen it. Well, I mean, mud's made of small particulates. Isn't it? Isn't it? Every time I say the word particulates, I giggle a little bit inside because I think of that one. What was the name of the... What was the name of the... Wilfred? The show with I think it was Elijah Wood. And I could have sworn it was Elijah Wood, right? And the guy in the dog outfit, that's his actual dog. And when he's like, you're not wiping it well enough. The dog's like, you're not wiping well enough. I smell particulates. Oh my gosh. Oh. Ridiculous show. Nick said the other day we can't charm players yet. Yeah. I don't... And mobs can't charm players yet either, unfortunately. Can't wait for it. PlanetSide 2 just merged the 2 remaining US servers, so now the battles are massive again. Oh, nice. Just very different feel, man. Nothing felt as good as the original PlanetSide battles. But you realize they only ever rendered 80 entities on the screen. Like, you would be in massive, like, multi-100 person battles, but you're only ever seeing, like, 80 things at a time. Can mobs have pets yet? Yeah, I thought so. Yeah, mobs have pets, but they can't charm players, I don't think. Because that's probably, there's a whole cluster when dealing with like all of the various player attached systems relative to a pet. I might be talking out of my ass. That's what happens when Nick and Ollie aren't here to correct me. Oh, Flowers of Happiness. I forget which server that was. I know the name, but I just can't remember what server it was. Was it Talon? I just remember Pandemonium from Talon. Because of how much everybody cried about Pandemonium on Talon. For the Wood Elf Zone this weekend, are you able to get up into the Tree City? Couldn't find a way last time. You might be able to find a way up, but there's nothing up there yet. Seek and Destroy says, I was in Pandemonium with Flowers. I was a troublemaker. I can imagine. Was there any large-scale 100v100 battles in EverQuest between guilds on PvP servers? Maybe some of the PvP guys remember it. I only, as a GM, I only ever saw like, you know, like guild on guild action that was probably, you know, whatever size guilds were typically back then going into like the early planes. I don't know. What would you say, 40 to 70 or something on each side? Watched two guilds go at it in Plane of Hate once. And that was just one of the coolest things I've seen, like the way they had to do, the way they set up their corpse recoveries and blocked, because they were essentially like in Hate. Essentially, they set up like a demarcation sort of line, you know, like they had all of their fatties on one side, the fatties are from the other faction were on the other side, like facing each other. Everybody had pulled behind like the battle lines and were like rezzing and all this stuff. They'd called a truce while they were like basically doing a CR and getting set up. It was just, I don't know, it's really cool. During raids, we would PvP, but it was mainly trains and blocking trainers from making it to the raid. Yeah. There was a fair amount of that. And see a lot of like training and stuff in like Plane of Fear, and I don't know, it's pretty cool. Pretty cool. I was present for one of the coolest. I've told the story before, so I feel bad telling it again, but I'll tell you because I mean whatever. That's what we're gonna do tonight. I saw probably the coolest PvP action in EQ. Was essentially it was the first Nagi kill. And I don't want to conflate things. It may have just been a Nagafin kill, but I thought it was the first Nagafin kill. And we're sitting there, and I'm watching it take place because basically what happened was one team rolled up and wiped one of the opposing teams, and a group of the original team that was there knew what was happening, and they logged, and they basically logged out and waited for the team that came in and killed their guild to get set up, get buffed up, and engage with Nagafin. And they got Nagafin down to basically like a sliver of health. And the group from the original team came in behind them then, and just first thing they did was just wipe out all their healers. And they were super focused, super good, and burned down all their healers. And just from there, it was just like healers, no more heals, casters, warriors, engaged Nagafin, killed Nagafin. And because it was like, you couldn't have planned it any better. And the GM who was in charge of like our internal affairs, who had his own office because he was like doing internal affairs, because this was after we had some issues with like GMs making and selling items and some other silly shit. So Gary wound up being internal affairs. He comes flying out of his office just enraged because while he's supposed to be working, he's in there playing, and he's in the guild that just got wiped by this group, and he's pissed. And he's like, I don't remember what he said, but it was essentially like he came yelling and coming over to where I was watching. It was like, did you see that? And I'm like, yeah, I saw it. I was laughing. And he was like, that's bullshit. I was like, why? He was like, "You're gonna do anything about it?" I'm like, "Why would I do anything about it? You just got owned." I mean, like that was completely legitimate. Like he was. I don't remember the details, but we went back and forth a bit, and I was like, he was heated. He was in the moment, and I have a tendency to get heated quick as well. But it was just kind of like and yeah, nothing to be done. I was like, they didn't cheat. They didn't do anything, dude. I was like, and you can't make the argument that hey, we were engaged and they should have let us be or any of that stuff. You came in and just wiped those guys. So that was one of the funniest. Like if I had known that it was going to be just such a great memory, I would have tried better to remember every little detail about it. But oh man, it was just such a good time. It was so good. And then afterwards, like after he calmed down and he apologized that he was so mad, he was like, "Man, I was just in the moment." It was just like, "It's cool, man. It's no big deal." And then but I was like, "You have to admit that was pretty badass. That was probably one of the most epic things I'm going to see as a GM on the server." Um, hey, Justin Beer, what's going on, buddy? Glad I just woke up for that story. I am glad you got to hear it. Passing on a memory. Won't play on it, but looking forward to the no FTE rule set stories. Oh, I bet. Zabaz50 says looking forward to this weekend. Yeah, I saw the I mean, I don't know that it's a bad thing, but also like you may have a different perspective on it. I saw Pantheon merge their servers. I mean, if it provides a server pop that allows most people to find someone to play with, then I guess that's good. But I saw some of the online discussion about like, you know, why some people are not wanting it and blah blah blah. So, but oh well. Anyone mind mentioning what FTE means? First to engage. Yeah, for you know, for a lot of people, they're gonna want things to kind of stay the way it is and blah blah blah. But you know, from a company standpoint, you're gonna have a lot of people that are coming in to play a game, not finding anybody to play with, and then churning. That was, you know, that's always a concern. Your website talks about a stress test in March. I guess Discord is the source of truth. What's it say? Where? Oops, we may have. Monsters and memories. Yeah, we had a stress test in March. I just want to make sure that if there's something we need to update, we update it. Does FTE have a limit on how long they can keep it before it goes FFA? Typically, it just means you've got it until you either wipe or... Alright, so it's nothing we added to the front page this time. Let me... Because actually, I kind of feel bad. Okay, no, we have it here. We're planning an open playtest in April. Cool. Next update will be at the end of this month. We've been slack, man. I'll admit to you. Sometimes it's hard to put together, like the months go by so quick, it's hard to put together an update every month. Because believe it or not, There's a lot of chasing our guys around to try to get them to give you the update information, Zukin. I'm just kidding. Zukin's usually really good. Soon to be quarterly? No. I'd like to get back to once a month. Slander? Simon, how dare you? I was looking right at you when I made that statement a minute ago. Simon. Slander. What's that? Don't get... I'm sorry, Simon. If anybody knows what slander is, it's you. Of the two of us. Jasmine was just warning me from the other room not to mess with you. A slander bander. Zukin. All the creatures you make up, you actually have to create, and they're not accounted for in the schedule. They're free. They're extra. Simon said, "I'm usually someone Sean has to chase about posting updates." You're not the only one. Don't feel bad. Hello, the one who knocks. Welcome. Zukin, I had an idea for a new NPC using parts we already have. I have an idea. Also, we need to use the various. We need to use the various dervishes more. I just remembered the other day. So, one thing that we can do, Zukin. You haven't set up the other dervish still codes? Oh, I'm sure you'll do it soon. Flaming skull, we have skulls. Just add flames, make them fly. Free NPC. You guys are, dude. We're budget around here. We will dup. Why is English getting harder? We will duct tape wings to a snake. Yes, skull, flame plus bat is where I'm heading. Skull with bat wings. Monster. Also known as an awesome 80s tattoo. We're just going to be slapping bat wings on everything. The Avenged Sevenfold Monster. That's funny. I was like, why does this look so familiar? Leaf Dervish. It's true. Pumpkin Dervish. I think there's actually a name for a skull bat. What is the skull bat? First, you're the one that knows every D&D. Skull bat D&D. I mean, there's... I can't pronounce it though. It's Var pronounced. Well, that doesn't help me. Vargwitz. Vargwil? Vargwils. 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 We could probably whip up a Sturge as well. I think it's like Ratatouille. Vargui? No, this says Varguil here. We'll call them Batatouilles. Oh. Yeah, Wallabies. Great minds think alike. Vargagui. Vargagui? I think Batatouille is better. So we got Flaming Skull. We got Skull with wings. We got a human. Apparently, that was just a head with wings. I mean, we could put wings on our snakes. We could put wings on our gnomes. We could put wings on wolves. Zombie part dervish. I hope it's still a thing. Yeah. Once we get our zombies, then we'll rip them up into parts, and then our new zombies. Skull with spider legs. That's true. Human head with spider legs. Spiders with wings. Zukin, we need to just add one person to the team that's just our kit basher. Zukin, you're in charge of characters. Make it so. A morphologist. That would be that's the job. We are hiring a morphologist. What does that do? It staples bat wings to, well, everything. A leg with wings. Oh, executes a flying kick. That would be good. Bat wings just tied to an ogre's head. Yeah. All right. I love streaming and taking like 45 minutes to do a 2-minute task. And you guys are fine with it for the most part as well, right? But once the honeymoon's over, you guys are gonna dig up these videos. You're gonna be like, this is why such and such is late. Look how long it takes Sean to do anything. No wonder they didn't do such and such on time. Be like, guys, you realize I don't even actually do work on the team? Just waiting for the Asmon take vids. Listen, we've been waiting for 4 years at this point for him to say this game looks like dog shit. What kind of boomer game is this? Bunch of old school Andys playing that game. Asmon would probably appreciate that it's bootstrap. Only if he fully understands. Been trying to give Lazy Peon a nudge to join the playtest. I don't know if I can trust him to enjoy it anymore. He's no longer the Lazy Peon. He's like ripped Muay Thai peon now. Clearly not lazy enough. I've seen him doing videos. He's doing MMO videos now while wearing like a Fairtex jersey. Kind of flexing. I like it though. It's super cool. Muay Thai is good stuff. I'm actually really amped for him, man. Dude looks super healthy these days. He's made such a serious change from his old vids. Yeah, dude, just outstanding. Not just a skull, but a whole entire burning skeleton would be sick, for sure. Crystalline material, actual glass skeleton. Yeah, I mean, the stuff where we can just swap materials on things, that's also cool, right? Then we can take and we'll put the wings on a skull. And then we'll put the crystalline shader on it, and we'll have a crystalline Batatouille. How about putting bat wings on a bat? That would definitely bring it full circle. Backpack with wings, double bat wings. Yeah, I was like, do you just put them in a different place? I kit bashed a cave yeti together from our ogre model once. Zukin told me not to quit environment art. Was it to put up in the frozen lake? Do you guys remember back when I was doing the character art? Hey, Dark Inside. On this climb to the top of Mount Eminem, will there ever be a moment where we get to the top, stop, breathe, enjoy the view? Is that launch 1.0? No. One of the secrets of MMO development is that there's never a moment to like stop and breathe and enjoy your accomplishments. You're never done. So you got to kind of take it as you can. So I think right before, like, if our player card's right, you know, in the quiet before the calm before the storm. So before we go live with EA, like the couple weeks before we go live with EA, the time right before a big update, and then like the time when we go into 1.0, that's like that's the chillest time. That's the best time. And then hopefully if everything's going well, what I find is whenever there's like a big milestone, like an expansion or you go live or whatever, I get kind of depressed immediately afterwards because just like, it's such an adrenaline dump, and then you got to go back to work. And so it's like, all right, we got to keep going. I mean, the thing is, you know, I'm not really being facetious or whatever. It's just working on MMOs, like the easiest day is yesterday, typically, right? Like there's always just more shit to do. The more people play, the higher expectations or needs are. Right? Like it's just it's just a lot of work. When will the test open on Friday, German time? Just so I know. Live in Sweden. Wolverine 2's. I think daylight savings is back aligned properly. What time is it on the East Coast right now? $15:30. Yeah, because it's 21:23 right now, right? So yeah. So 7 p.m. Wolverine. Somebody just reminded me of the headless up there. Darius said, reminds me of the Monster and Ultimate Headless. They were just pirate sprites or whatever without the head. Yeah. Headless would work too. Headless. Should have put these in as I was going. What was that? Out of curiosity, if the deep dwarf dies, does he become a statue? Is there a pile of rocks in the deep? Or do they just reuse the parts? They reuse their parts. What their actual death animation looks like, though, I'm not sure. I guess we'll see. Zilla said they should do transform style transform into a tombstone and make the sound. That'd be so cool. Actual work is getting done today? Not really. I wouldn't say that. I'm pretending to work again today. Let me see. Do I need to pull anything? Does not look like it. Hey, Dasava. It's hard to tell sometimes if my video froze or Sean's just waiting on deep thought for Unity to load. Oh no, yeah. Oh no, 89. That is absolutely... And sometimes I just stop in the middle of a sentence, I've realized. I'll just start thinking about some other stuff and I'll realize that I stopped in the middle of a sentence. So... I tried to run the client a little bit ago and couldn't get in. But I also realized it's a different account than this one. So I probably should have tried with a different tune. Maybe it was just that one character. Actually, once I log in here, I'll probably do that. I'll probably hop over and see if I can log in with a different character. It's probably just that one tune. Try and get as many people as you can for the playtest interested. Your dad was an EQ player and he's still aboard, sorry, for early access at least. He's retired and needs something to do. We're here for him. He is our people. Yeah. See if I make it in. Maybe it's just a thing. We'll give it a minute. That doesn't work. Then we'll try the client one more time. And if that doesn't work, then Chip as my witness. All Go Devs says, hey Sean, I've been wondering as I play P99 and EQ, why are so many zones? Squiggly tunnels with lots of right angles before they connect. It makes a ton of sense, and we probably have to look at how we want to address some of that, but it's kind of hard with some of the things that we're doing with regards to crazy line of sight. But the reason is it kind of masks the connection, but it also helps with occlusion. Right, so, you know, the thing that we're doing where we're trying to show you the next zone, in most cases, we don't have to necessarily do that at ground level, right? So, back to, you know what, I'll just come in here, scroll down where you can't see the thing that I'm working on, probably, maybe. All right, so Like you can probably see it here even, right? Like we do it to some degree in certain zones, but it's more noticeable in like here. Let's go to occlusion to help with GPU loading. No, I think it's, and I don't want to misspeak. I'm not super technical, so I don't want to be out too far out of my wheelhouse. But it's occlusion just to help with performance in general, right? Like, so you don't have tons of like direct, everything's within line of sight. Let's see if I am actually able to zone or if it kicks me back. But essentially, and it masks the fact that the zones aren't contiguous, right? So like, if you've got a zone line here, and everything over here is grassy, and then everything over here is deserty. If you're just looking right across here, like we will do if I actually wind up zoning, then you'll see, all right, these are kind of disconnected. Now you don't have this problem in somewhere like, you know, the Karanas when you're looking across, because it's basically the same theme. But if you're going from like somewhere else, I'm trying to think of a more extreme example, then you'll see, oh, okay, it's two different zones. But the second you put a dog leg in there, right? Like, so if you take this, oops. And then what you can do is you can take this guy, and you don't even have to worry about it anymore, because you're going to take this guy. And then you're going to hit the zone line before you realize that these are different. And then on the other side of the zone, you're going to do something similar, right? Except over here, right? So just because once you're in the zone, then your brain's already like, all right, I'm hopping into a different place. That's one of the things that we liked about like zone-based games, is the fact that it's you know, you're kind of, you know, you're entering a new zone. So if it's got slightly different rules or it's got a different aesthetic or whatever, that's fine. But yeah, so we've got to look at how we're going to trick that from time to time, because we'll be contiguous, but we may have a dramatic like theme shift. And so then we've got to look at, do we try to gradient, right? Do we maintain something like this? And do we just like find a way to kind of actually find a theme that kind of works together? Zukin said many outdoor Kunark zones had a wall of trees that kind of hide that stuff. like Fiona Vi to Swamp of No Hope. Yeah, and so we can do a little bit like we were just looking at that in Sungreet Strand. There's just so many trees and little rock outcroppings and shit that you don't necessarily notice. But then again, it's also it's a contiguous theme. It's not as big a deal there as it is like you can really see it. I don't know why I zoned or attempted to zone to Vale of Zentar when I could have instead gone to Keeper's Bite, right? So like this is the wrong texture. This isn't supposed to be the texture that's here. Excuse me. But again, even if we had the right texture on here, it wouldn't be that big a deal just because it's kind of, it's the same theme. But if we go to, yeah, I'm at the Fallen Pass zone line there because I just zoned in. So I need to go to just, well, we'll have to check that. Mirage effect could work, but I like it's don't I'm sorry, it's not necessary because it's the same theme. Could be that the zone line's just jacked. It looks like while we were in here, something was pushed. So let me see if I missed something. So I'll grab latest and see. Anna Rocket, what's going on? Totally unrelated question. So I've seen some of the DB in past streams and looked at the DB for the EQ emulators. I don't know if you can answer this, but I've noticed the tables seem very wide and flat. The relational aspect doesn't seem to be used much. Is this more for performance reasons, or is this more a function of how it was always been done? Reminds me of spreadsheets versus highly normalized and relational data design. Just curious. I can't answer that for you, unfortunately. That sounds like very that sounds like the question someone that sets up the database would be able to answer for you, whereas I'm more of just kind of the trained monkey that knows how to use the database to make elves and gnomes and shit appear. If that makes sense. If you really want to know, tag Ali in Discord. I mean, one of the other guys may be able to answer that as well, but the safest bet is always like tag Ali. And a Rocket says, Gnome's looking great so far. I'm super new, but like all the models I've seen. Oh, nice. Well, welcome. Now, in terms of, and if I understand the part of the question though, you're saying wide and flat. That's saying that there's a large variety of data in a given table that could potentially just be like foreign keyed over to some other table instead. As like, if you don't mind, my sort of more layman kind of. Okay, Chip's hopping in. Chip is one of our other big brains. He can help. Zillith/Chip says there's not many ad hoc queries at all. Most of the data is cached in bulk by the server processes, and much of the data is directly edited in the DB instead of tools. All these factors reduce the benefits of normalization. Nice. Thank you, Chip. So for either or both of you, or just Chip, if the tool, so in what you're describing, because we're editing directly into DB and not necessarily in tools, then there's the benefit of all of that data being like a lot of the sort of like data being in one table makes it easier for us to edit it, whereas if we had a tool, then it could be that it's dealing with multiple tables at a time. Chip said Cryptic actually did a talk on this at GDC after City of Heroes entitled SQL Considered Harmful. Interesting. Well, I wonder where I'm at relative to the zone line now. Clearly, I'm on the other side of it. Let's see. Nightly Dietrich said hello from Duke Radiology. We're all cheering you and your team on. I'll take it. Hello, Duke Radiology. I hope everybody is doing well. I would not have ever assumed that Duke Radiology would be interested in old school MMOs, but everybody's invited. Let's see. That's your new guild name. I didn't edit anything, Ollie. Why are zone lines and stuff broken now? How dare you? And also welcome. So I just ran into another weird ass zoning bug, Ollie. You don't need to, like, I haven't been working on anything that like needs pulling. I'm a little worried about our zone lines at the moment. All right, GDC vaults. Okay, got it open in another tab. I just tried, so I feel like I'm behind the zone line now, which was weird. And then the server errors started popping up right after that. So I was gonna look and see. Oops, Veil of Zentar. Show. Zone line bug? Yeah. So here, I'll see if I can recreate it. Zone Keeper's Bite. Hey, yeah, that's right. Goblin. Congratulations again. See, look, I zoned in, I zoned out. Zoning into Keeper's Bite is now kicking me back to... I was in Veil of Zentar both times. And where it's placed me, I'm fairly certain. Maybe not. I'm fairly certain I'm also behind the zone line now. So it didn't even zone me back to the right spot. Let's see. Excuse me. Isaiah says, Zilla, thanks. I'll look that up. I'm just curious because a lot of what I see in game development or game programming is not at all similar to how you might approach things in business programming, which I'm more familiar with. Excuse me. And then Zillith said, you'll find that a lot of things in game dev are a full 180 from how you structure things in business/web applications. It's not always for performance, but game dev is definitely much more sensitive to it. Shaving 2 milliseconds off something in a web app rarely matters for most instances, but can be a huge win in games. Yeah, it's like the theme of 70% of our discussions in the last week. Oops, I'm just like running out here. But I didn't, so if I ran through the zone line, it didn't do anything. Yes, our dear young goblin has become engaged. Is that how you say it? Is engaged. There's Ollie. Goblin stole her a ring and everything. Let me see if I can zone through the other zone line naturally. I guess I could have just run right over to Glass Flats. I didn't have to come all the way here. Ollie said he sees the problem. Nice, I can stop exploring. Goblin said, true story, maybe I'll share the full story next stream or something for those interested. Those of you that haven't been watching Goblin streams, you should. But now there's an extra added bonus. Ollie found the problem. Perfect. It's Wednesday evening and there's a zoning bug. That makes me nervous. How's it a data issue? Okay. I was like, I didn't think. Broke it. Goblin said, I know it's a wall texture, but it really doesn't look that bad, to be honest. No, it doesn't. I think the biggest problem is just sort of the fact that it's matchy. But hell, this texture, some minor adjustments even maybe. Ollie broke it. Perfect. Oh, I love the models in this game. Can you show more mobs? Sure. This is Ollie. I can go full screen now that we're no longer trying to figure anything out. Oh yeah, the sand on this would be cool. There's a traveler. Ooh, I haven't checked to see if we fixed this. It looks like we fixed it. The geo is no longer blinking in and out of existence. There's a snake. There's a dervish. Ollie's reloading the zone. That's why everything stopped moving. There's a very handsome wolf. Also, should be a mount for gnomes, but we'll talk about that later. Yeah, basically everything should be a mount for gnomes. Will there be golem mobs in the future? There will be. They're on our list. I did see the direwolf stuff. Pretty cool. Either that or it's going to be a Jurassic Park nightmare. I mean... So this is cool. This is the first time I've seen this area since I broke it. We'll go look at these guys. There's a spooky flying citadel. Oh, he disappeared on me. You got to watch out here. These guys will, they'll stealth under the sand. Is it intentional that they hide in the sand? Yeah. Nope, it's not an app mesh issue. It's an ability. Now, some of the... Yeah, they're not all floating bad, so it's not bad. That sound brings back memories of, oh crap, where's the sand giant? Just wait. At some point, it'll be nighttime, and there'll be a dust storm. I feel like the radius on hearing this giant stomp audio could be a bit bigger. Yeah, I think so too. Don't let us forget. So, some bugs. You love the sun lighting effects that happen with Unity 6 upgrade? The blinding feeling running into the setting rising sun is so good. Yeah, the light has been feeling better. It's pretty. Ollie said, so it doesn't put you behind the zone. It's actually zoning twice now and no longer breaking. But it zones you into Keeper's Bike and then back to Veil of Centaur facing out. But do you have that fixed now? Hey, what's up, Quados? What am I doing tonight? I'll be honest with you. A little bit of killing time because we're just waiting for the big playtest, right? So, a little bit of just chatting and stuff as we wait on the... Just finding some little last minute bugs here and there. We still talking about doing the slow fade out UI thing on low activity? For the entire UI? I wasn't part of that conversation. So I don't know. But it sounds like it could be a cool setting. So I read this was done in Unity, but then made from scratch. Is it still Unity? It's still Unity. There have been things like our server and I don't know. Tech guys could explain more. There have been things like the server that we've kind of gone back and forth on implementations in the past, but the bulk of everything we're doing, it's still Unity. No problem. Here's an orc. To your point earlier, yeah, we should be able to hear. We should be able to hear him like out to here. Robert, if you're watching this, we should be able to hear a giant stomping, probably out to here. I think at least. Robert watches the VODs sometimes. I don't know. He's on tour right now. Would that get spammy sound-wise in areas that are giant dense? Sure, but that's what happens when you fight giants. I mean, if it's too horrible, we could see. First of all, like, is there some does one cancel the others out? Blah blah blah. So it's not like it's just like boom, 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 or anything like that. I forget what the term is. But we could adjust it from there. But it would be cool for when they're walking around for it to be more visible. Yeah, underwater sounds good as well, right? Like everything gets muted. It plays with the colors a little bit down here as well. Yeah, it's Crest. Oh man, look at that. That's pretty. Especially with the clouds. So, old school, but... Sorry for a dumb question, but can we move the buttons on the UI? Like put spells and abilities where we want? So... You can use the hotbar with macros. You can grab items from your inventory, right? So that you've mapped the slots here. Actual abilities, you can like grab them, put them down. If I'm not mistaken, right? Like so, then S9. Yeah, nothing memorized. So you can do all that, but what you can't do is like customize the actual ability bar very much, right? So it would be basically mapping this hotkey to that ability key. There's probably a more concise way to explain that, but I think everything I just said is accurate. I feel like people don't stop for these moments in games very often, but it's my favorite. One of the things that I think is helpful, and it's all been part of like the approach to. Hold on, Zukin said you can remap the keys for the spell bar too. Can you? I did not realize that. Oh, in terms of like you can map the key binding? Yeah. You can move the ability bar around all you want, but you like we don't have like we can't flip it horizontal or anything at the moment. But yeah, you can remap the binding in here. So if you come in, keybinds. Guys, don't forget if you're new to the game, we have the new player guide on the website. You can access it through a number of different places. But it's absolutely it's worthwhile if you're kind of new to this game or new to this type of game, especially before you start playing, to go through and like we try to answer a ton of stuff in here. If you've got people that are going to be playing with you, maybe for the first time, if you're bringing family members or friends or I don't know entire medical centers, then and they haven't played this type of game before. There's a lot of, I mean, it's basically the flight simulator of fantasy MMOs. Is where we're heading with it. Okay, Ollie's reloading the zone again. What time is it in here? It is 7 p.m. in game. I was just wondering that because I could probably pop the sun back up in a second. Incredible, thank you for the link. Yeah, that's the link to the quick start guide, which we at some point just need to rename the player manual. Okay, while it's dark, well, Ollie's reloading the zone, so it's gonna reload in a second. It's very dark. Wonder what the youngest player that's enjoyed M&M so far is. I know there's a 15-year-old playing. One of our chat regulars has brought his son into playtest with him, and he's 15. Saren said his son's tried, and he's 14. Fair. Is a Knicks kid a pro? Yes. Youngest so far, 3. Oh, Ollie's, that's right. Ollie's son plays. He's 8. But oh, back to the point you were making, Quatos, about people not like stopping and enjoying the scene. One of the reasons why we're so focused on making the atmosphere like just really be, I don't know, just kind of its own character, right? Like just very focused on the atmosphere is because, I mean, it's like it's camp-based content, right? Like, so the fact that you're actually, if you're coming down here, odds are, if you're down in this area, you're probably going to be pulling and grinding these giants, or if you're further down, the crocs or whatever. So the fact that you're sitting in one place for so long, it's so dark because I don't have my light on. Because you're sitting in one place for so long, you actually have the time to appreciate the atmosphere, and you're seeing it through full day night cycles and stuff like that. So more light. This is the best torch I have on me at the moment. What's the best light source in the game? I don't know at the moment. Yeah, Lasava, the clouds have been a fun addition. Best light source in the game is the sun. That is correct. They're fishing. Drinking and fishing. Can you climb the ladder? Of course. So many deaths will happen on this ladder as people run away from giants. How do giants attacking on the ladder interact? Oh, I don't know. I'm hoping to watch somebody's stream that figures that out. So yeah, it's a pretty good fall. Ooh, with the new, oh yes, with the new mud action functionality, we have some stuff to do. We've just got the ability to put a respawn timer on mud actions. That's man, those props fit so well in there. Hey, thanks. I think I did these. I probably did these. I don't know. Slash take giant weed. Exactly. So Lasava, now that we've got respawn on these, we can make it so that if somebody, like, we can actually, yeah, first we just got it. So, we can make it so that there are actual items and stuff that you can take, and then you'll be able to, like, we can actually balance it now. Before you could do it, right? But it would just, there's no cooldown, there's no respawn. And so it's just like, you could just sit there and farm the shit out of it. But now we can actually have it so that, you know, it's fair. So you could actually get something of a little bit of value. It's not a big deal, right? And so putting in little stuff that you can find, blah, blah, blah. Well, of it said, just put a post on my monitor to test the, remind me to look, so bad about forgetting. But I'm going to be real honest with you. We don't have a ton in at the moment. And we just got that functionality. So in a future playtest, there'll be more of that. Now we'll have weed campers. Yeah, you will. If someone, if I ignore someone in game, would it ignore their character or their entire account? I think we're gonna eventually, we'll have both. Hey, Doom Waffle, welcome. Your mom was a weed camper. You still turned out okay. We discussed ignore. Do we have it in yet? Yeah, we do. And we have slash ignored, so you can get a list of everybody you're ignoring. Ollie said, Veil of Centaur Keeper's Bite is now fine, by the way. Now I'm fixing Keeper's Bite. Evershade was ever. Oh yeah, because it would make sense that Evershade would be broken too. Incredible said, I know you have a target audience, but what is the PEGI SRB rating you're going for? I can't find it on the website. I don't know that we're actually. I mean, if we had to pick, well, I mean, online, you ultimately you're always online is always its own little thing, right? Because people are interacting with each other, so there's only so much you can do to prevent evil. But I mean, we're going for a bit. We're a bit more mature. Like if you're just kind of asking, like, hey, what should I expect? We'll put in chat filters that allow you to, like, you know, if your kid's playing or something like that, we'll scramble the bad words and all of that. But I mean, you may run into an NPC that says like shite or piss or arse or bastard. So, but I mean, you know how like the various programs will be like, this has fantasy violence. This will have fantasy cursing probably. That seeing a giant silhouette in a cliff in the moonlight while you're walking through a canyon. Love how this game looks so much. Hey, thank you. Ollie's fixed the zones. Yeah, and I will say, there's still, you know, every time I look at it, things are looking better and better, but there's still definitely, there's still some stuff that we're going to continue to tweak with lighting. And definitely a lot of optimization. Hopefully that we can continue to get in for folks on lower lower end machines. Yeah, some of our lore is kind of dark. But you know, I think that's good for kids, to be honest. We will be no darker than German fairy tales. How about that? For example, German fairy tale scissors. But awesome that the zones work, Ollie. It should probably run through again tomorrow, like run through all the zones. Incredible set. I just want to ask, with people's kids playing and such, I know a bunch of games that use the word shit and people cut your pearls. Well, I'm not saying guards should be telling you to fuck off, but I just want to ask. Thanks for clearing up. Yeah, probably. I'm gonna say there'll be no NPCs dropping f bombs. We may have our own, like. What do you think? Is Farg, F-A-R-G, is that too bad? Like if it comes out of a dwarf's mouth, like, you know, because there's the whole Battlestar fracking, but they've already got frack covered. We may have somebody say a frack. Swanee does have flat ears. Oh, there went my torch. But yeah, we're excited to get you in here. So one of the things that came up, somebody was just mentioning it the other day. Like we run around in here with aggro turned off, and we're immortal for the most part. We run around in here with aggro turned off and immortal so much that sometimes I forget how sketchy it is when you guys are new to a zone and you know this stuff will kill you and you've got to recover your corpse. Take it for granted sometimes, so I'm excited for you. Your group ran around and Veil of Zintar is level 5, so explore. You got lucky then, because there are spiders that are invisible in the zone. Invisible spiders, big ones. And I think they hit relatively hard. Not to discourage you. One day you will in fact make it to the Green Castle, Quatos. Oops. So yeah, the next stream I do will be on the day of our playtest, Friday. Can I write you a note for Friday saying you can't make it to work? Of course I can. There are some additional mobs in this zone now, so be careful. We've just, we've just started populating the zone, so it's definitely a work in progress. But there are a few more things in here now that can for you to find and kill. Yeah, can the Duke radiology team please write? Was it Steve Fence needs a doctor's note for Friday so that he does not need to go to work. Well, that was crazy. When are you going to be able to climb up the trees to Elven City? There's some sneaky ways up right now, but probably in the next play test, there'll be more here for you. But apparently you can sneak your way up here. Just gotta be careful. Do we need a sort of particle and sound effect on the invis for that spider so it doesn't get fused with a bug or something? I mean, I think personally it's fine either way. If we can get something that looks a little bit better, awesome. If not, people get used to it. There should be something at least in text. I'll have to look at that ability, but when the ability pops, there should be something like a spider appears or something like that. What is this place? Mini Kelethin? The pet name for it that was given to us by Slack was Kelethik. And as the day progresses, they've got some nice, like, different lighting that sort of that pops off. Wouldn't hurt to have a particle sound. I think the particles may disappear when the spider does, though. Not sure about the sound. Yeah, that's my only concern is, like, do we fully support it or whatever? And I'm not like trying to be dismissive when I say it. I just think there are a number of things that ultimately we may wind up doing just because it, like, gameplay wise gives us more options, but we won't necessarily have all of the either technical or art support that we would ideally, you know, necessarily want. I just mentioned that because, like, the amount of shit that designers will cobble together in an MMO always makes artists sad. I've never worked on an MMO where the artists weren't mad at design for doing some hacky thing that could either be better communicated visually or be better communicated for the player experience or didn't look as half-assed or whatever. So, and then the programmers are always just, like, wondering why we're duct taping stuff together and potentially breaking things. So none of it is meant to be dismissive when I say that. It's more of like I'm being non-committal. Darius said zone's looking so much better. Needs to be darker though. Do you think this is too bright for nighttime? My assumption is we can just stick to same effect as player stealth on the NPC. Not sure if they're using anything different. So likely low effort. Oh, nice. I haven't seen the effect on player characters. Yeah, I thought it was the same ability as well. Wonder if it just behaves different when NPCs are having it pop off. Oh, saw a little bit of something blinking there. So now it's a bit darker. A little bit different mood. So yeah, quick show of hands. Who's gonna be able to play this weekend? Or maybe is it easier just to ask who's not going to be able to play? I'm hoping most of you are able to play, right? No, NPCs can't see your light. We don't have that in. What level do you think you're going to get to by the end of the weekend? Any level 50s? Level 60? 2 because you're going to be re-rolling all the time. That's fair. Grim Day is going to be at least 21. All right, we'll see. We'll check back in next Wednesday, 12 to 15. Nice. See, and you can still see the sky in patches. Let's see. All right, no, so I'm excited. I'm excited for folks to oh, it's gonna be so nice once the city's fully like lit up and stuff. Once the city's fully built and all lit up, it's gonna be fun. But yeah, like I said, those of you that are bringing people into the game for the first time that have never played this game, please do what you can to help them out. Keep an eye on OOC. If you hear people complaining in OOC, you know, don't attack them for it. Just, even if they're being annoying and it's like, you know, the game's too dark, the quests are dumb, I died a bunch and this is stupid, oh, I have to find my corpse, that's uncalled for, like all of the usual stuff. Oh, there's no map. It's bound to happen. Be patient with them. Why can't I sell my weapons to the cook? No one buys any stupid items. All of the usual stuff. It's fine, man. Don't feel like you've got to defend us. It's actually it's better if you just kind of like, you know, are cool to folks and you're patient with them and yeah. It's just the worst looking EverQuest anyway. All that stuff. It's okay. If you combine your quest items in a bag and they disappear, can you complain? You can petition. Okay, so here's another one. We have a petition system. And we have a /bug system, right? Petition or /bug will bring this up. Well, on your screen, this will look normal, I guess. So if you recipe produces no results, I guess would be the one, or would that be a quest one? Like if, but either way, pick a subcategory. If somebody's doing anything bad, you can petition. So let us know: harassment, camp dispute, disruptive behavior, character stuck. If they're saying really awful words or whatever, if it's like anything super racist or whatever, like be sure to just tell us the player name. We'll get on it. We've got good tools. It'll be very fast for us to find the evidence involved. Zukin trained the newbie art again. Yes. I'm a broken record pointing folks to new player guy, but that thing is bursting with answers. Not a read just once kind of thing. Yeah, there's a lot of information in there. Meek said, sorry if it was covered. I'm at work and unable to completely focus. Will there be a new launcher download? Current one isn't working for me. I get the manifest has no files error. I don't know if there's going to be a new launcher, but that error may be something that we can help you with. I saw some other people complaining about that today. Some friends and family folks as well. So hit us up in Discord. Ollie said, I literally just fixed it. Nice. Pointing to the new player guide should also be stressed, like even devs use that. You aren't less of a man or gamer for looking at the manual. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff in here, right? Like, and there's a lot of stuff that's still in progress. You know, guys, also be sure to remind people, like, point them to our roadmap, remind them of like what state we're in. If you're bringing people into the game, I'm sure you're like, I'm sure you've probably told them, but like, tell them we're in development. We're working our way towards early access. That's going to be next year. So, I mean, you don't have access to some of these. We've got development commands in here as well, but like this is /help in game. Here's a list of commands. And again, you know, there's also development commands in here as well, but a lot of this is just the game. So definitely read the manual. Yeah, /help. And then you can /help in a word, right? Like, so /help name. So /help space name gives you all of the various name commands. /help corpse. Help results for corpse. Maybe give help and have subcategories. No, you can already do that. So /help space a word, and that will give you a subset of the Tsunami-san. /help. Yeah. Results /pet. One of the commands is help. I don't know what that is. That's weird. I don't think I've ever used it. Somebody who actually plays our game could probably explain that. /yell for help. I feel very stealthy under the water right now. Gnome Quatica. I was thinking I was a Nomi seal. Are guilds in? Yep, guilds are in. Let's see, what is the hotkey for... Yep, guilds are in. Shift G, okay. guilds are in, mounts are in, the first bits of housing are in. Pack animals is basically just like a content variation of mounts. So if we've got mounts, we've got pack animals. I don't know if we've got leading. Like, I don't know if you can lead your mount yet. Do mounts size with the player race, or are they all the same size? I think we're going to try to create. We may do some different sizing, like that's set up for different mounts. But we've also got to discuss that some more. I think there's a faction of the team that is fine with just resizing everything, and there's a faction of a team that would prefer that some mounts just not be available to some size PCs just because they could have a different mount and it'll look better. So let's see. You can lead your mounts. It just follows you when you're not on it. Okay. Oh, that's right. It was following. In your case, it runs away because you didn't feed it. Let's see. Mounts can be killed. Mounts have like hit points, and they eat and drink and have stats. Are all player houses going to be pre-built structures in the world? Love the idea of it being limited in ways. Yeah, so at least for going into early access, everything's going to be pre-built. But there may be some structures you can find that are like in a dilapidated state and can be restored. Eminem is just as good as Tamagotchi confirmed. Yep. Gnomish wasp mounts are in game. Let's see. Yeah, so to your earlier question though of like player run towns, we've got an island in Shallow Shoals that is all player housing. There won't be any way during the playtest this weekend that you can get a mount or pack animal, though. I don't think Chip says, so I believe him. No flying mounts. No freeform flying mounts. You know, we may let you ride a thing that hovers above the ground that doesn't actually have levitate or something, but if there's a player housing, how do we get a plot of land? All of the various housing will have a little note if it's available. Here, I'll show you. No flight paths, but there are ships. Yeah, they have like a little for sale sign that you can grab. Goblin says he's fundamentally against flying mounts. Freeform flying mounts or mounts that are hovering above the ground, like that wasp that just went by. That I have, in fact, ridden in the past, and it looks amazing. Yeah, freeform is no good. No bueno. I think all of us are probably in that camp. What about levitating while riding a mount? We haven't covered that scenario. Yeah, when I say no freeform mounts, it's for this game. I mean, I'm sure it's fine for other people's games. Aquatic mounts. That's a good question. player-owned pirate ship may be viable in the future. Yeah, that's true. Boats are aquatic mounts. Goblins riding sharks win. Zelda said, if I hear aquatic carts, I'll flip a table. No, come on. Be a good sport. You got it. So I'll show you Nick's place. This is Nick's. We should probably... Can we... Is that going to be fixed before the... Let me actually take a screen crap. A screen crap. A screen cap. A screen crap. Ollie's fixed it. Okay. If Nick can find somewhere where he can... Yeah. That's what? The ass bar. It's the ass bar. Nick will troll your stuff if it is not set up in a way where it can't be trolled. So, you can purchase by purchase like rent a house, storefronts. You can also rent stalls. And then what that'll do is allow you within this volume to place your little display cases, so boxes that people can click and like see what you have to sell, but you have to sell it yourself. There's no like bazaar or no auction house. Like you actually actively have to sell it. But you can at least kind of show some of your wares and stuff. And these are all systems that we'll continue to build on over the next year. Darkly Brooding, thank you for the follow. These are 24 hours, right? So it's kind of like flea market. If any of you have done the flea market thing. If any of you are from Dothan, Alabama, and you've ever gone to Sadie's flea market, then you know how this works. We do have teleportation for wizards and druids. Yep. We even have like a lot of lore for why they work the way they do. So, hey, Yisan, I'm sorry I missed you when you came in earlier, dude. My wife is saying all she would do in this game is be a bread baker and merchant. No adventures, just selling bread. Yeah, we want to hopefully make the game robust enough that feels fun. You have to stay logged in. I mean, you can not. I guess you can. Oh no! If you log out, then your stuff's not there. I mean, you can go AFK and not sell anything. But hey, guys that are running, I got to run as well. It's almost 11 p.m. here, and Jasmine just came by to let me know that she was heading to bed anyway. So I think it's a good time to wrap. So I'm going to wrap up for tonight. I'm going to check some stuff in Slack. I'm going to go to bed because it's 11 p.m. and I'm old. And then I will see you guys on Friday. I'll stream on Friday, but not Saturday and Sunday. I'll just be doing customer service. Let me say goodnight to folks. We're excited as well. Hopefully everything runs smooth for you and you have a great playtest experience. I will see you on Friday. Olgo Dev, choose. Later, Swanee. The Fae are in their own realm, but they also hang out on in our realm as well and start mischief. So there you go, Anna Rocket. Later, Zukin, Grimday, Vibrant, thanks for the questions. Wallabus, see you, my friends. See you, Keyframe. First, Doggeroni, Tsunami-san. You guys, you're all very welcome for the stream. See you, Virtual Freedom, XV. Later, Bill, Incredible. See you, Florane, Fuller. Later, John. Hope you have a good rest of your day, buddy. Hope everything goes well. Drew, see ya. Cad, Grim Day. Dragon, see ya, my friends. And a rocket, I'm sorry that Swanee hit you. I can't do anything about that. I cannot control that man. See ya, Viro. Thanks for the follow, Forever Wolf. See ya, Meeks, Monotonous. Esan. Worn Out Plays, Lasava. See you. Thanks for being here. Forever Wolf. Hey, I'm glad you're excited. You have a great one as well. See you, Ollie. Thank you for grabbing that stuff. I'll see you in Slack. Yeah, sorry, no more. Dogdrin. See ya, Broy. Take care. Thadvik, Dula. See ya, Goblin. Congrats again, my friend. Exciting stuff. You guys are. I mean, I've seen the Christmas card. You guys are super cute. It's perfect. And Esmina, have a great one. And I will see everybody on Friday, hopefully. Bye.